أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، وأصلي وأسلم وأبارك على نبينا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا ما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم اجعلنا من يستمع القول فيتبع أحسنه. I thought you did this one. Bismillah wa salatu wa rasulullah. We have reached to the hadith number 9 from the Arba'in an-Nawawiyya, the 40 Nawawi. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عبد الرحمن بن صخر رضي الله عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول ما نهيتكم عنه فاجتنبوه وما أمرتكم به فأتوا منه ما استطعتم فإنما أهلك الذين من قبلكم كثرة مسائلهم واختلافهم على أنبيائهم رواه البخاري Muslim. Hadith narrated by Abdul Rahman ibn Sakhr, which is Abu Hurayrah. Many of us doesn't know the name. Abu Hurayrah, his name Abdul Rahman ibn Sakhr. He's from Daws, from the Yemen originally, and he migrated to Medina. He migrated the year 7th of the Hijrah. Allah knows best when he embraced Islam. But the year 7th of the Hijrah, he migrated to Medina, and he is number one of the hadith narrators. He narrates so many hadith, at least double the amount for the number for the Sahabi number 2. So he was number one, and subhanallah, he is so famous. There's no Muslim on the face of this planet did not hear of Abu Hurayrah. And Allah placed the love in the Muslims' heart to Abu Hurayrah. Abu Hurayrah, his nickname, his name Abdul Rahman. Hearing Abu Hurayrah is a bad sign, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet made special dua for the Muslims to love Abu Hurayrah. However, Abu Hurayrah, because he had a cat in proper Arabic called al-Qat or Hirrah, and Hurayrah, small cat, so Hurayrah, kitty. Right? So that's why his name Abu Hurayrah, and Abu Hurayrah, since Abu Rasul named him Abu Hurayrah, became the most beloved name to him. This Rasul gave him the name. Abu Hurayrah, this is his favorite name. Abu Hurayrah went there, Abu Hurayrah went by, Abu Hurayrah came, Abu Hurayrah left, and so on. Abu Hurayrah. It's not like a bad, he loved it. He gave Ali radiallahu anhu a nickname Abu Turab. He became his favorite Abu Turab. Whatever Rasul gave the Sahaba, they loved it. They would never let it go. That much of a love to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam they had. So Abu Hurayrah radiallahu anhu was from the people of the Suffah. Ahlul Suffah, the most poor people, lived in Medina. كانوا يعيشون في المسجد النبوي. They used to live in the masjid itself. They were so poor they didn't have place to live. So they made like a partition for them, and they lived in the masjid. And one of the reasons he did not miss almost any hadith. Of course, he would miss something for other Sahaba, but he got most of the hadith there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him such a sharp memory, it's till the point he became number one of the hadith narrator among all the companions, even though he migrated the year 7th. So I mean he lived with Rasul 3 years or 4 years. So because of Rasul died in the year 10th of the Hijrah. So it could be total 4 years total. That's what he was with Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. However, the hadith here, such a beautiful hadith, shows the mercy of Islam. And shows things are sharp and confirmed. Things are, in a way, has to be done certain way. Means, Rasulullah said, مَا نَهَيْتُكُمْ عَنْهُ فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ. What I have forbidden you for, avoid it. Something haram, avoid it. Done. This is haram, don't do. Said فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ. And ijtinab, we say ijtanibu. Allah mentioned the khamr, فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ also, the beer and wine. And they said فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ is bigger than stay away. This means leave it totally, avoid it, stay away from it. It's bigger than something haram. Keep distance from it. فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ. And said وَمَا أَمَرْتُكُمْ بِهِ فَأْتُوا مِنْهُ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. And whatever I have ordered you or commanded you, do as much as you can. Do the best of your ability. So do as much as you can. Something you should do as much as you can. Look, this shows the mercy of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he had mentioned, he said, فَإِنَّمَا أَهْلَكَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. The only excessive, this is كَثْرَةُ مَسَائِلِهِمْ وَاخْتِلَافِهِمْ عَلَى أَنْبِيَائِهِمْ. Said the only, or it is the only, it's only the excessive questioning and their disagreeing with their prophets that destroyed the nations before you. So the reason they were destroyed because the excessive questions and questioning their prophets and disagreeing with their prophet. This the reason was for the previous nations to be destroyed and destructed. When you say something here, you go, there's a few things we benefit from this hadith. The first thing, so the foundation of this deen, when something haram is done, you avoid it. Unless something make you do it, as we're going to come. Generally, if something haram, khalas, it's over, it's haram. So whether in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the sunnah of Rasulullah, the same, no difference. As the Rasulullah mentioned in the hadith, he said, whatever Allah has made haram is, and His Messenger is the haram. The haram what Allah and His Messenger have made haram. Then there's no difference. As for example, the donkeys was not mentioned in the Quran to be haram. But the hadith of Rasulullah it was mentioned, it is haram. So we leave it and leave it the way it is. Okay. So it shows here when you are commanded, that means it's a wajib, it's mandatory to follow. Follow the command of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So whatever was the mention, the sunnah or the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if there's a command, then do it. As Ibn Mas'ud said, when he said the ayah we have mentioned a couple times before, when Allah said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, let's pay close attention. It's a command or something, to do something or to stay away, to do something or stay away from something else, do the halal or fulfill the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and stay away from the haram Allah have mentioned. And here, there's in the Quran, the hadith shows when Rasulullah, if I command you to do something, do as much as you can, do your best. Shows you if something become difficult, okay, you don't have to do it all. If something too difficult to finish, don't do it all. So he said, فَأْتُوا مِنْهُ مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Do as much as you can. Do whatever you can. As Allah mentioned in the Quran, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمْ الْيُسْرَ. Allah wants ease for you. وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمْ الْعُسْرَ. And does not want difficult for you or difficulties. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن يُخَفِّفَ عَنْكُمْ. Allah wants to make it easy and light for you. And he said that the ayah said, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Fear Allah as much as you can. And Allah knows your ability. Allah does not have you get a command to do something you cannot bear, you cannot do. And like they said in Arabic, when things become tight, then they're beginning to become easier and vast, and the solution becomes so fast at that time. So here, if something means, if let's say you have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have commanded, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam have commanded to do something. If you cannot do part of it, right, doesn't mean to leave it all. You do the part you can. You do as much as you can. Let's say the mission is 10, like out of 10, you could do 7. Do the 7. Then you do not, because you cannot do the 3, doesn't mean under any circumstances to leave the whole mission. This do as much as you can, and so on. So sometimes the things you cannot do because you have no knowledge of. Some stuff you didn't know how to do because you have no knowledge of. This is, you do not have to do if there is no way to seek the knowledge from. Let's say you live somewhere far away in the desert somewhere and far away from Muslim scholars or imams or like you have an access to any connection with the scholars, then in this case, then you do as much as you can, and you're not accountable for being ignorant about this matter. But definitely, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the word, فَاسْأَلُوا. So you have to ask the people of knowledge so you could learn and you can practice the deen the right way. I'm going to give you an example to make it easier, or to make it like understandable. For example, you have enough water. Let's say this much water. All right? If you have this much water, let's say, for example, this much water, enough to do like you wash your hands and your face and wipe your head, but you're not going to be able to wash your feet. This enough for part of the organs need to be washed. What should I do? Leave the wudu totally, or I do as much as I can? Do as much as you can. So then you do, if you have enough water to wash your hands, right? To wash your hands and your face, right? Blow your mouth, of course, and nose and so on. Wash your face and then your hands. Then you didn't have enough to wipe and your head and your hair and then your feet. Then you do whatever, enough water, first one. And the other thing here, I want you to mention this. I was more the brothers who pray in the chairs. For example, the salah in the chair. Let's say you can stand, but you cannot do ruku'. Then you have to stand. You're going to do in the salah whatever the things you can, and let go of the things you cannot. Some people, they cannot make ruku', they can go straight to sujood. Then they have to do the sujood. So you cannot just stand for a second then sit. I'm talking about the obligatory salah. Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. The sunnah is different rules for sunnah. But the 5 obligatories, you're going to do as much as you can. Even the young one broke his leg, his foot, his hand, fingers. Sometimes you cannot make sujood. That's when you can make ruku', you can stand up. You cannot just say Allah Akbar and sit down. So you have to do every part of the salah, every section exactly as much as you can. The portion you cannot do, then you let it go. You cannot make sujood, okay, fine. You cannot make ruku', fine. You cannot make both of them, it's fine. You cannot stand, okay then. Then sit down, you can make sujood then. Make sense? So you cannot stand then, it makes salah sitting, because you can make sujood. So whatever part of salah you can do, you should do it. And same thing, like we said, the wudu. And he said, Rasulullah, the hadith, he said, questioning their prophets and disagreeing with them was the reason for their being, or the reason for them to be destroyed. And here shows here, sometimes their question has no benefit for you or anyone else. You just ask questions. Okay, so what the benefit? Especially at the time for Rasulullah, at the time for some stuff he made it easy for you. For example, one of the questions, he said, Rasulullah have encouraged the Sahaba to make Hajj. He said, Ya Rasulullah, every year. Then he remained silent. He said, Ya Rasulullah, every year. Then he repeated himself 3rd time. Every year, Ya Rasulullah. He was mentioned Hajj, how rewarded the Hajj is. 3 times. The Rasulullah got upset. He said, if I said yes, then become mandatory, and you're not going to be able to do it. Because if he said every year, then you are sinning if you didn't do it every year. But he was sent as a mercy to mankind. He said, don't, and the thing is, if I said yes, that's mean you have to do it, and then you become mandatory and you have to do it. So if you didn't do it, you are sinning. Same thing with Salat Taraweeh. He did it when he saw the Sahaba. The first day was a few lines with him. Second day was like 3/4 of the masjid. Third day was the masjid full. Then he prayed the 4th day at home, or the 5th day. They said because they prayed, the narration, that what was narrated was he prayed 2 nights, then another 3 nights, or 4 nights total in the masjid. So however, the last time he prayed at home, he loved to pray in the masjid, and he can, but if he did it every night, then become Taraweeh mandatory, rather than highly recommended. So if you leave something mandatory, wajib, then you are sinning. So out of His mercy, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah sent as a mercy to mankind, or to man. So then he said he prayed at home. So he told this man same thing. Don't ask so many questions. Don't ask so many questions. So and also questions are useless. No one benefit out of it, neither you or the people around you. In the dunya or the hereafter, has no meaning to it. What about if this guy climb up the 200 feet high tree You know, if he comes down, is he shaheed, or he is committed something, or he killed himself? So the thing is, you don't ask questions useless. A man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and he asked him, "Where's my father?" He's from the Sahaba and he knows his father was a kafir. So, your father in hellfire. Yeah, it's simple. Then the Sahabi, the companion, the Sahabi became sad, very sad. And Rasulullah felt bad for him. He called him back. He said, "Not only your father in hellfire, also my father in hellfire. Your father and my father are in hellfire." So the thing is, and basically, do not ask things does not benefit. So why ask stuff you know where's your father at? Why ask that question? He was worshipping idols. I know this is the true deen, worshipping Allah alone. You know the consequences for that. Why are you asking? He's not going to tell you in Jannah. You know the answer. You know, so that's same, this done deal. Then Rasulullah in the same gathering, he got so angry. And he said, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ. He said, by the one who is my soul in his hand, any question you ask me today, I will answer you. Even those questions, where's my mother, where's my father, where's my uncle, and this is what happened to that guy, I will answer you. And they saw Rasulullah being upset. Umar came down on his knees and said, Ya Rasulullah, amanna billahi wa rasulah. Amanna billahi wa rasulah. We tubna. We are repentant. We're not going to ask those kind of questions, useless questions. So we need to think about those questions, whether it will benefit or not. If there was no benefit, done deal. There's something in this hadith, understood, the ulama understood from the hadith, and we need to make sure just pay attention to it. The thing is, one of the maqasid al-deen, the purpose of this deen, to unite the ummah. Based, of course, the unity comes based upon the sunnah. There's no unity without the sunnah. It has to be according to the sunnah. Without this, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who united the hearts. Allah, the one who brings the hearts together and close together. And the only way for the hearts to become close by applying the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and applying the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of the most important things Allah have commanded us to do after the tawheed of Allah, believing and fulfilling the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to unite. One of the most important things. Allah said in the Quran, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Said, hold tight to the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all together. Hold tight to the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and do not differ, and be together, love one another, and so on. So, and he said, matter of fact, the firqa, being away from each other, disliking one another, this is the attitude or the behavior of the mushrikeen. He said, وَلَا تَكُونُ مُشْرِكِينَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ فَرَّقُوا دِينَهُمْ وَكَانُوا شِيَعًا كُلُّ حِزْبٍ بِمَا لَدَيْهِمْ فَرِحُونَ. So the thing is, those the characteristics of the mushrikeen, the one who their hearts different or differ, they're not together, there's no love to each other. Sometimes letting go something is not the time to apply one thing. So, for example, you know something, before we go to this, so Rasulullah, for example, do not, if your brother asks for a girl's hand in marriage, don't ask for her hand till you make sure works out or not. Said, لا يبيع المسألة مروع بيع أخيه. Your brother want to buy something, you go pay more money for it. Or sell something, you sell something cheaper than what he's going to sell. You understand? You sell, like, I'm offering this phone for $50, then Abdullah will say, okay, I got a phone, exact same phone for $40. Or I want to buy something from Abdullah for $50, then Adam told him I can give you $60. This is all haram. This is make the heart difference, make the love is not there. Matter of fact, bring the hate and the grudges and the animosity and so on. Same thing, asking for a girl's hand. If you know your brother asks for her hand, wait. If it works out, fine. If it doesn't work out, if it works out, it's good. You stay away. If it doesn't work out, then you go ask for her hand in marriage. So you cannot do this. Go ahead, Fadash. Inshallah after this. So, any sunnah you apply, sometimes apply the sunnah, you go to area, you need to, some people they have no clue what the sunnah is. You need to teach the people the sunnah before you apply it. Because sometimes if you do it in that time, people feel weird about what you're doing. You teach them the stuff, then you tell them. You understand? You teach them the sunnah, then you apply it or tell them about it, or you implement it in their masjid and so on. So, يلا ماشي مستنيك.
7 يوم.
يلا.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam. Go ahead, inshallah. What's your question?
So it's haram to offer more than your brother is offering to get something, right?
Yeah, of course.
The question was regarding options. Options are based in this concept. The highest, whoever comes up with the highest offer gets the house. How does that work?
If this is the only way to, when it comes to the auctions, this is the only way to be done. This is the only way to be done. But in general, if you see him buying every time, it's just like any time he goes buy a car or house or something, pay more than what he pays. This is what have forbidden. But the auction, there's rules for the auction. Definitely, it's not the ideal way to be done. But the thing is, when you live like in an all non-Muslim culture, which has become like all over the world. So it's not only like the USA or England or France. So all over the world became the same, became the norm to do this, the auction attitude. So then Allah make it easy. This is the only way to make a living, I guess. I'm not giving fatwa here to do it, but I mean, this is the only way. This is the only way, I guess. I mean, try to avoid, you pay whatever you think it's worth, and khalas, one time. Because you cannot give less what's the merchandise worth. As remember the Sahabi radiallahu anhu, when we have mentioned last week, the Din al-Nasiha, when he told him, he bought the horse for $400, then he added 100, then 100, then 100, then 100, said your horse worth $800. Even the guy was satisfied with 400. So the auction, how he can satisfy? So the thing is, both sides not satisfied, because you start with cheap prices, sometimes nobody bet on the car or the house, then you get it for way less than what's worth. And this is not Islam really. If you want rules of Islam, this is not Islam. But I guess this is part of the package. So there's no Islam rules over anything. So the auction, same thing with that. So, I mean, may Allah make it easy for everyone. The auction is the kind of tough thing. So here the hadith, basically we conclude with this one. The hadith, to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have commanded you, is something big. It's something, one of the most important things in life. As Rasul, as was mentioned, this guy said, the punishment for leaving thing you are commanded to do is harder than the things you are, if you do something haram. If you leave something you command to do, is harder than doing something haram. Is that clear? The punishment for leaving, neglecting something you must do, or you're supposed to do, or you command to do, is harder than the punishment for something you have fallen into, which is, as a human nature, we fall into a sin. But things you could do, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not command us with things we cannot do. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded you to do 5 days salah, you can. When He told you can fast from Fajr to Isha to Maghrib, you can. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said you can do Hajj, you can. So He did not command us with something we cannot do. So doing something or neglecting something we are commanded to do is bigger sin, or the punishment for that bigger than doing something haram. And shows what what happened to Iblis. Iblis and Adam, we're not comparing, but the Iblis disobeyed Allah and Adam disobeyed Allah, right? So now, look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have accepted the tawbah from Adam alayhi salam. Iblis, Allah have commanded him to do what? To make sujood to Adam. He refused. Okay, what did Adam do? He ate out of the tree and he was not supposed to eat. So Adam sinned. He told him, don't eat out of this. So he's not supposed to eat out of it. But Allah have commanded Iblis to make sujood, and he refused the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Adam sinned, and that one refused the command. So the punishment was higher. So look how the end of Iblis ended, like in hellfire forever. And Adam, he's a prophet, and he's our father, and then he's in Jannah. So that's what the things. So the tawbah, it's easier when you are a sinner. But to intentionally to refuse and to neglect the things you are commanded to do, this is the big thing. And why? Because another thing, when Allah commanded you for things, Allah loves those things. Allah commanded you with the salah, do salah. Said, do salah. Prophet ﷺ said, Ya Ahl al-Quran, O people of Quran, Inna Allah witr, Allah one, yuhibb al-witr. He loves witr. Fa'awtiru. Make witr. So Allah loves the things He has commanded to do. Allah loves siyam. Right? He says, Siyam is mine. I shall reward for it. So the thing is, Allah loves when there's command to do. So the thing is here, those are the ma'murat, when you command things, Allah loves those things. So, but the manhiyat, Allah, this does not like it. Allah loves those and He doesn't like those. So do the things Allah likes and try to avoid, of course, the things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dislike. But the thing Allah command to do, try to do as much as you can out of that. So ma'mur and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the thing we commanded, or more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than staying away from what He have said stay away from. So we will conclude here, inshallah. If you have any questions, inshallah. And there's one thing, inshallah, subhanahu the hadith, they said, there's reasons for the destructions for the nations before us. This is like a big chapter. So, because many things what caused the nations before us to be destructed. It said, أَهْلَكَ مَنْ كَانَ قَبْلَكَ, destroy the nations before you. We should look into this, inshallah. One time we can count a few things, because this is a big topic also, to see what the reason they were basically destroyed mean thrown in hellfire. So we have to understand why the reason for them to be destroyed or destructed or to be thrown in hellfire. This one, أَهْلَكَ مَنْ كَانَ قَبْلَكُمْ. So if you have a question, inshallah, I'm here, inshallah. Yes, Hashim.
Are the steps for making tawbah
The tawbah, of course, the tawbah, no matter how big the sin is, no matter how huge the sin is, Allah accepts the tawbah. Allah accepts the tawbah. As long as you fulfill the conditions tawbah. First of all, to be sincere for Allah. The first thing, you're not doing it for anything but Allah. Second, to regret what you have done. And to stop what you are doing and not to plan on doing it again. So the four things, always remember those. Of course, the regret by itself is a tawbah. Regret could be sincerity. Why did you regret? Because you're sincerely afraid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I should never do. So sincerity, regret, and stop, and not to plan on doing it again. So steps of tawbah, the same. The steps of tawbah, the same.
How do you respond to people who use this hadith to like justify, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want us like it to be hard on us, and they use it like, for example, we work in an office and we're supposed to be clean shaven, to go against wearing like, oh, it's supposed to be easy for us, I can just shave my beard because the office wants me to shave my beard, or go against what stuff that's legend.
Okay, but when you do things, subhanAllah, like for example, this is a beard thing, this is a big thing. I mean, a lot of people are bearded and they work everywhere, there's no problem. But if you make, Allah said, first of all, when it comes to stuff, any command of the deen, even like whether to make your salah, or to come for Jum'ah, or to fast, or to work in halal, or your beard, all the stuff together, Allah clearly said, مَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. Whoever fears Allah, whoever fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will find him a way. Allah finds you a way first. You have to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One thing. Second thing, the thing that deen, Allah made it easy. Of course, the deen for ease. The ease by shaving, so the beard is hard. So the thing is, I mean, the ease the way you want, or the way I want, or the way Allah wants. Allah, the one who created us. Allah said in the Quran, أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ. Doesn't know what, the ayah said, doesn't Allah knows what He have created? Indeed, He does. So the one who created us, He knows what we can do and what we cannot do. Leave something for Allah, Allah give you something better. Definitely. And it happened many times. I told you this story before we let go, inshallah. One time, I know this guy, he's a pharmacist here in Cleveland, Ohio. A friend of mine. Before he signed the contract, with the company, he told him, listen, I need a Friday off. Of course, you need the whole day Friday off. You need the 2 hours, hour, whatever, the hour of khutbah. That's all it is. But he said this, whatever. I told him, you don't need to. He said, I want a Friday off. I told him, fine. So he took Friday off. He told him, I can work Christmas, I can work weekend, I can work any holiday, but I need my Friday off. He said, no problem. So they gave him Friday off. I have another guy in different state, also a friend of mine. I told him what this guy did, because he's a pharmacist too. I told him, he did. He said, no, I can't. Believe me, it wouldn't work. I told him, did you try? He said, no, I did not try, but it doesn't work. So the thing is, you need to make efforts. If you fear Allah, Allah find your way. Remember, Allah the one who controls the hearts. Whether Biden or you and me. The president of China or Russia or those guys, whatever the superpower men, whatever, right? The one who controls whatever the so-called the world, they think. But the thing is, whether them or you or me, Allah the one who controls their hearts. As Rasulullah said, the hearts of son of Adam, between two fingers of the fingers of Allah. He flips it the way He wants. So if you fear Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make them do what you're supposed to do, what you have to do. Basically, if they're going to do it, good. If they're going to do it, leave it and go. Allah will provide you get you a better job than this. But you cannot obey a human being against Allah as well. A lot of brothers, they work in official companies, and they have beard. No one say nothing to them. So this has nothing to do with this. The deen Allah made the deen easy. It is easy, and for things you could do, and you could do that. So no one can stop you. No one going to do anything to you. So as long as you are obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanakallah bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.